Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava, and this is Let's Play Italy in Hearts of Iron 3, number 14. We left off with these changes to the front lines since our last session. First of all, we'll notice that the Germans are still losing ground. They have managed to push back the Soviet salient, however they lost a much larger salient. Kursk is now pocketed, and they're generally just getting pushed back. We, on the other hand, have made tremendous gains through the Caucasus area, up the Volga River, through the Soviet Union. We have encircled this massive group of enemy forces, although we too lost a large amount of terrain, and even had a few of our units encircled in the process. We've even lost all of this peninsula. We have, however, made significant gains even in the Ukraine, which had been very difficult for us to maintain earlier on. Now, there was Operation Volger last time, which had some minor objectives here, some pretty major objectives over here, which just completely did not get fulfilled. We really overachieved here, though. We did much more than we had hoped to, much more than we had hoped to over here. If we go ahead and look at the overall lines, we are still losing in Persia. India has been cut off from direct aid through Persia by the Soviet Union. The Americans are continuing their massive waves of progress against us. The Japanese are making minor gains against the Soviets. And that's really all there is to note going on over there. Britain is back as a tiny African state. That is something, though not very much. And South Africa has been split from the rest of our empire. Overall, though, Operation Volgar was an overwhelming success on two fronts and a complete failure right here. Moving forward, though, we're going on to Operation Case Blue, named after the German continuation of their offensive in Barbarossa. Case Blue was the attack against the southern Soviet Union, and we're essentially going to try to break out with all of these Ukrainian forces after cleaning up these pockets. We're going to attempt a small landing and hopefully connect these two areas, getting rid of the Soviet port, the last place they can supply this pocket from. Ideally, we'll also bring some of these forces down to bear to hopefully clean that up, get a new corridor and causeway for supplies, and hopefully make some progress against these Soviet forces just to push them back a bit. We are definitely facing supply throughput issues, which is a terrible problem and one that will only get worse as we bring more forces to bear. So these troops are going to be redirected, all except for the infantry, which will slowly make their way up. But most of these forces are going to be redirected down and over so that they can hopefully destroy this pocket and open up more supply corridors. We do also have to worry about this Chinese division, which could very well rush in. So first things first is we're going to have to pick up first air transport, fly them over to here, and also let's switch up our production very quickly to get rid of any wasted industrial capacity. And we'll get our first air transport into position to hopefully airlift some of our Marines. So let's see, first air transport, what can we pick up? We can pick them up into a transport fleet, but not too low of organization, really. What is their transport weight? Their transport weight is 68. We'll unload them. How many can the Air Force pick up? 45. Alright, that will just not work. We can fly them over to here. Evidently we cannot. They do not have an airfield there. Where do we have an airfield that will work and has a small infantry division on it? We could pick up some militia, though that doesn't really help. We could pick up some of our suppression units, though those also don't really help. Alright, we might actually be fairly limited in what we're able to do. But we also really can't let that force cut us off. We'll probably just move these forces back over towards the rest of the army and hopefully work things out with them later on. Alright, these troops are going to just keep encircling enemy forces, seeing as they're already doing a fairly decent job of that. Right here we're having some issues, but pretty minor ones. These troops will also just go forward. We'll actually send them over this way. This battle is going rather poorly, so we'll just fall back as it doesn't really matter. Alright, let's just hide this map. We'll pick up these 2 units. And we'll pick them up and we'll ferry them over here and drop them off just in Zelenzik. Hopefully there won't be any enemy forces defending the area. We're definitely facing some supply throughput issues, which is a significant problem. These troops are disorganized, but hopefully organized enough to press forward here, and it looks as though they will be able to, which will hopefully destroy all of those pocketed Soviet forces, and we'll move forward from there. These troops will also attack, and everyone else will just funnel forward. We're going to want to get our infantry up to the new front line, although it looks as though the Soviets are really just abandoning the front, which is rather good news, actually. Alright, these forces are in position. We'll attempt a landing, hopefully not get battled. It looks as though we are under attack right here, but it's not going very poorly whatsoever. Alright, so we'll just leave these troops right here, probably move one of these armored groups over to reinforce. Everyone here appears to be doing alright. These forces are undersupplied. Alright, we'll just attack. It looks as though we'll win that pretty handedly and hopefully be able to destroy and encircle and destroy that Soviet unit. These units are making good progress, just charging forward. These units will go around the Soviet forces, and that's really going to be just the way that we carry on. These guys don't really need to be there. Now they actually kind of do, so we'll keep them where they're at. We are facing some supply issues. Nothing horribly serious, though. And yeah, we'll just leave them how they're doing. We don't really need to get overly involved. Supplies are just such a terrible issue for our army right now. It is just a horrible burden. We'll bring this group down. These units, even though they are poorly supplied, will hopefully be able to at least do some damage to the Soviets. And we are winning a few of these battles just throughout. Hopefully these Soviet forces will break in the next few moments, which would be a very nice thing for us to get. This battle is going poorly, so let's just stop attacking there. I'm not even sure why we were attacking there to begin with, to be honest. This battle is going rather poorly, but hopefully it'll go better in time. Maybe, maybe not. This group of infantry will charge forward, as will these troops. Everyone's really going to press forward if they can. These men have landed, so we're going to charge forward with them. That battle's going weirdly poorly, which is definitely less than ideal. They are getting disorganized quickly, though, which is good news. We've won that battle, destroying the pocketed Soviet forces. Yep, and let's get these armies back to the front where they belong. Everyone else is going to just move up. And that's the plan, is just get as many infantry groups as we can up to the front lines. These units will all rush forward. You guys as well. Alright, these guys will rush over to this area where there is now a gap, simply because we didn't really put any forces there. Actually, no, instead of that, they'll all rush up to here and move forward. These troops will go and hold that area. We are facing some pretty bad battles right here, so we'll just fall back from there, as it doesn't really matter all that much. Those forces are all probably going to be defeated. Let's see, back to the front. We can probably just retreat from there. It won't really do much harm to the cause. These forces will try to keep put. We'll move these troops up. And we really have to just maintain our grasp over these Soviet forces so they don't manage to escape or do any harm. These armored units will move up. A lot of territories are being lost to the Soviets, although we are apparently doing somewhat better with supplies. These corps are going to retreat, just because that's a kind of terrible thing for them to fight. If we can take this port, we're going to be in a good spot. And let's go ahead and get first tactical bomber. Apparently I have no idea where they're at. We'll bring them back to here though. Okay, they're over there. Just bombarding Soviet forces because they can. How patriotic. And we'll ground attack the militia, which is getting somewhat disorganized but not very quickly. Alright, we might even want to hold back one of these infantry units just to prevent these Soviet forces from going around, as they really appear to want to do. These forces will all move forward or around, however works best, and generally just keep moving in a way that will just disorganize the Soviet defenders as much as we possibly can. And some of these battles are going very well, which is very nice. These troops we really need to get back to the rest of the army before they get out of supply. And hopefully we'll contain this group of Soviet forces. Everywhere though, our battles are going fairly well, which is great news. These troops are going to start moving forward wherever they're able to. This group might even charge forward here, hopefully cutting off and destroying that Soviet armor. Alright, let's just move these groups straight into that. We'll only move one though, as we don't really need very many. That battle has been won, which is awesome. We'll roll those forces around. The US is still doing a lot, being a big problem. This group isn't doing very well, although I guess they won it immediately because the Soviets didn't want to fight or just were unable to fight. With our bombers helping now, that battle's going much better. These troops are going to just keep fighting. It looks as though the Soviets have managed to trap themselves on this end of the lake, which hopefully will provide less support than the other side had been. And everyone's just going to keep gunning it forward wherever and whenever they're able. And these troops are going to try to rush down. Their supply lines are broken. Hopefully they'll be able to make it. If not, I'm not too worried about their continued survival, though, just because there aren't really any Soviet forces around. Although that's the kind of thought that gets armies destroyed. Alright, that group won their battle. Everyone else is kind of winning their battles as well. This armored unit's going to rush forward and around. Everyone's just going to move where they're able, when they're able, as far as they're able. And we're winning that battle now that we've brought reinforcements in. Hopefully they manage to take this port fairly quickly. We'll attack this infantry group, hopefully win the battle. It looks as though we are winning pretty handedly just throughout, which is great news. And it looks as though this group of Soviet forces may be on their last legs. We'll bring this group over and around, and just generally hope to do well. Alright, and a lot of these battles are going very lopsidedly, and lopsidedly in our favor, which is always the key detail. Oh, we won that battle, so let's just keep rushing over. This group of armored is going to keep going up, and that will hopefully all work out. We'll just charge forward with that group. Everyone else seems to be getting their supplies fairly consistently, which is all we really need. And we'll just keep marching everybody forward. As that is, yeah, we are probably at the point where the Soviet Union just no longer has the defensive capability necessary to survive as a state. I mean, I'm probably getting really ahead of myself. In fact, they are doing some considerable damage to a decent portion of our forces. How about now? Yeah, we'll just retreat with those troops. Overall, though, it isn't so bad. These troops are also faring relatively poorly. We'll just retreat them back. Once again, individual battles don't really matter here. These forces are also doing poorly. I'm not sure where they're being attacked from, but we'll just retreat them anyway. These troops will go forward. And, oh, sadly, okay, the Soviet forces are now there. Luckily, this is going to go into an impromptu encirclement. Everyone else can keep moving forward, or at least attempting to. These groups are still winning, despite having very little supplies. And we'll keep working to encircle and destroy what Soviet forces we can. It looks as though we're facing a pretty lopsided battle, not in our favor right there. We'll bring some additional forces over to reinforce that. Hopefully that will go better in a moment. Where are our tactical bombers? Tactical bombers, just begin tactically bombing these guys. Just do some ground attacks. And we'll bring these forces over and around, and these forces over and around as well, hopefully encircling and destroying the Soviet force there. Alright, that battle's going very poorly, so we're going to just pull these men away, and we'll just maintain the defense around it. These troops are also doing poorly, so we'll just retreat with them. And we may actually have to retreat. Not so very much, but not a non-inconsiderable amount in the north. We will rush up and try to meet up with that unit, though, just so it doesn't get encircled. These troops are doing poorly. These troops are, sadly, the enemy's been reinforced, which is very bad news. Hopefully these units will get into position quickly enough to rescue them and save the day. These troops will just continue down. And let's see if we can just win this battle. It looks as though we will. And as long as we're able to destroy that Soviet force here, then we're going to be in a great spot. Whether or not that's actually realistic is, well, it remains to be seen. This group's also probably going to want to stop attacking, as this looks rather unfortunate for us. We'll rush forward and try to destroy this Soviet group. It's working okay. Even that's working, though, which is great. So we're starting to just bring these forces in, make some inroads against the Soviets as much as we possibly can. Looks as though they're trying to retreat over to there, so we'll try to cut them off. And we really do have to clean this area up, because it is now becoming a legitimate concern. This unit will also go just tactically bomb these guys. And please get those guys over quickly, as things are heating up in that area, and not in a way that is necessarily good. We really do need to worry about our own supply concerns, just because all of these Soviet forces are doing a decent bit of damage to our supply lines. Can we win this battle? It looks as though we can. Alright, so we're just going to try to cut them off, or cut them up as much as we possibly can. Some battles are being lost, which is less than ideal, obviously. And these forces will go and try to use to encircle some enemy forces. Please get these guys out of there. Alright. It's going okay. We're not really doing much damage against them up here. We may want to start pulling our forces back and consolidating what we've got, instead of just doing all this more or less ridiculous stuff, which may not actually be the most helpful thing in the world in the long term. Alright, these forces will just retreat. Hopefully those forces will hold out. Let's see, where is this? This is in Ukraine. We need to rush those forces over. It looks as though we did manage to encircle some additional Soviet forces. I didn't even realize we were in the process of doing that, nearly to the extent that we apparently were. This mechanized unit needs to go reinforce. And we really need to just pin these Soviet troops as best we can. Alright, they lost, and unfortunately I'm not sure if they were destroyed or if they just moved forward. We're losing a lot of provinces in the occasional battle. The situation is kind of getting out of hand, to the extent that I'm not actually very sure what's going on. These troops will attack, and we're doing very well. We won that battle, which is great news. We really do need to save that unit of mechanized. Alright, so the situation is just, it's not deteriorating, it's just not really a situation anymore. We just, I mean, the front line doesn't even exist in a lot of ways, which isn't really completely new. That's been kind of the ongoing situation for a while now. And we are sometimes winning these battles just instantly, but the situation is, in a word, confused. We'll bring up the old battle lines and see what exactly has changed. By the looks of it, the Soviets have driven over that way. They're pushing us back somewhat. We're gunning forward in some areas. We are doing damage here, but they're definitely pressing back. It's a mess. This whole area is just a terrible mess, and the Germans are also getting pushed back still. The Finns, weirdly enough, are making good progress. Good work, Finns. So are the Hungarians. So it looks as though, in this instance, Germany is definitely the failing Axis member. They're also basically the only Axis member, but that's besides the point. I mean, Japan's also in it, and they're doing okay, so yeah. It's not really an Axis if it's two countries, is it? I'm not really sure how that's defined. At any rate, our forces can continue to win in at least some locations. We are pressing forward. Over here, the situation very confused. Hopefully we'll continue to just destroy or encircle or just do some damage against the Soviets. We are, let's click through all of these battles as they're completing. We did win right there. That is the very key thing. We'll stop attacking here as that doesn't really help anymore. And they're attacking us now, but who really cares, because we'll just tactically bomb them into the dirt. So many updates from so many battles from so many places. We'll just charge up to here. We're winning against them. Lots of battles being fought and won throughout just everywhere. Now we're in India by the looks of it. Okay, here we are. Okay, so this really says a lot about how the war's going, that even at 2-speed, even non-speed play version, it's a little overwhelming. I can't even begin to imagine how the speed play of this is going to look. Our infantry groups, which were supposed to be running up to the front line, have really just not made it to the front line, or the front line has just kept moving at such a clip that they can't make it. We're probably going to be able to just charge this group over across this river and reunite our fronts. Where is this? This is up here. You guys can just retreat. There was a group that was threatened to be encircled. I believe it was actually them right there. So they're pulling out okay. These troops are all doing okay. We'll hopefully just destroy these remaining Soviet forces. We're just continually bombarding these soldiers. All these guys are horribly disorganized. We'll try to meet up. Battle after battle is being won, which is pretty cool, not gonna lie. That would definitely suck if it was any other way. We'll charge across the river and attack that headquarters. Everyone's going forward as best they can. This battle's going less than stellar, but we'll just go around them. And alright, these forces are doing very well. We're losing some provinces. We can probably just charge up. Can we just defeat these units? Doesn't really look like it, but we'll just encircle them if they don't give up, and they just gave up because they don't want to die. Alright. We'll continue thrusting forward. Looks as though we'll win this battle, and we've won that battle. Soviet forces definitely do appear to be just giving up at this point. Right there, pretty hard battle, probably not going to go entirely in our favor. Ooh, these guys are all really bundled up. That's not good at all. We'll send this group forward, this group around. That's the same group. Okay, this group back. This group forward. This group around. This group stays put. These groups are going to rush up to enforce. As we need to rescue these guys while they still can be rescued. What's going on right here? That battle going poorly. We need to really cut the Soviets off so they don't ruin everything. These troops will hopefully build up their organization as time goes on. Soviet forces are really just gunning through the north. We really would like to take over, or not take over, but at least take a causeway back to get these forces back to the rest of the army, as that is really unsustainable. And I know something or other about launching unsustainable offensives, as you've all probably noticed. And it looks as though we're under attack right here. How's that going? Hopefully well for us. That battle's going very poorly. We'll just continue retreating that way. This battle's also going very poorly, so we'll just pull back with these troops. These men are all going to rush up and try to rescue their comrades. We can hopefully gun it forward quickly enough to rescue these men. We apparently lost a battle somewhere right here. Those people are now out of supply, or out of organization entirely. Everyone else is going to just keep charging forward. This battle's going still pretty poorly, but we're bringing more reinforcements in, more provinces lost, more battles won as the corps are just not defecting, but just being depleted and retreating. Everyone here just to keep just going forward. The Soviet forces are definitely, nothing else really describes it, they are breaking or broken. These troops will just charge forward. It looks as though we're facing some difficulties there and some negative battles. Everywhere else we're winning all right. Have they retreated? Yes, they have. We'll just chase them. They've also retreated, so we'll charge up. These forces are now encircled technically, so we'll just try to break out. These men really need to get out of here. These forces aren't really that much help, which is a terrible, terrible thing. Could we just attack right here and do well enough? Maybe. It's up in the air. We may have overcommitted to rescuing those troops. Everyone else here is just going to keep going forward. The Soviet lines are definitely breaking. These troops doing poorly. How's this working? Even worse. Okay, we're just going to pull back everyone here as this is kind of turning into a disaster. That would cross a river, so we're not going to try that. Can we get these guys out? We will see. Alright, these forces are all doing okay. Well, better than okay, really. Alright, you guys should definitely stop these attacks as they're not really working out. We lost the Battle of Turkesad. All of these forces are moving forward. We'll keep roving around with these men. These troops will go forward. Can we just attack right here? Maybe. A lot of these battles are being won, but not all of them. This group is not doing very well. They're attacking armor, so let's keep them where they're at. This group is doing very well, though. The situation is not desperate, but it is still confused. I'm not going to really be saying anything else other than that for a while, I don't imagine. These troops are going to gun it forward as best as they can. Can these guys attack and do well? No. So let's not. Apparently we lost this battle, and we're still losing the battle, so we're not going to keep fighting the battle. These troops will go rush over to reinforce, hopefully turn the tides there. Everyone else is apparently still dealing with all these horrible supply issues. We might actually win that. These troops will hopefully manage to carve a new supply throughput causeway thing. Hopefully win this battle before they can get there. More battles lost, more just chaos on the front. These units are unfortunately going to have to retreat. These units are doing okay though. These units are doing alright, but not well enough. And we'll just rush around with these troops. Can we just attack this group? It looks like we can. And that means that we won this battle pretty much instantly. We won that battle, so that's good. We'll rush our forces over and around wherever we're able to. We did end up winning that battle, so that's very good. This unit is more organized, so it'll just rush in. Everyone else will stay put. This unit can actually rush over and around. Soviets are launching a significant offensive there. We'll try to rush over and destroy that headquarters. We're doing well. Everyone else will charge forward. These places are under attack. It looks as though this battle's going poorly. We'll retreat the least organized of the units. The Soviets are sadly breaking out of here, but we'll try to do what damage we can. Alright, that battle's going very poorly. Alright, so the front is definitely just a mess at this point. We'll start retreating these units out as best we can. This battle did get won, though, which is good. We have a new route for supplies. We'll try to rush up and just destroy that Soviet unit. We'll rush over and just keep fighting them wherever we can. Supplies are really just the bane of our existence right now, and for decent reason. We've kind of bungled this offensive in a weird way. And we'll just keep attacking the peripheries. We now have a brand new supply corridor to get supplies through this area. We can hopefully charge over here with these troops. And sadly, this whole area is at risk of being encircled in some weird and awful way. These troops are all going to try to get out of here as soon as they can, as just much as they can. We'll try to encircle these forces to an extent, bring these troops over and around. These units, not really much we can do with them. They might be destroyed. Can we help these guys out? Looks as though we can. We won that battle, so we'll just hold out. Let's bring the lines up again. We are making great progress, which is the most important thing. These forces are going to continue to just gun forward into the Soviet Union. So many battles, just every day. Alright. Alright. These forces will just go around. We'll keep trying to cut off and cut through and cut around whatever Soviet forces we can. It's just constant cuts every which way, every time. We're going to hopefully win that and destroy that unit. All sorts of chaos, just terrible chaos everywhere. Even the Soviets are now in India, which is weird. Let's add a war goal against them, because we probably can at this point. Acquire territory. Eastern Poland's probably going to be important, and Western Poland, really. We could go after the Urals. Turkestan, Kamchatka would be weird. Central Asia doesn't really make sense. Karelia? I'm not sure where that is. We'll go for Eastern Poland next, because it would look kind of awful if we took Western Russia, but they had Poland still. Alright, these forces won. We'll rush over here with these men. Rush behind them if we're possibly able to. This force will just go up. This force will go down. This force will circle around. Alright, these poor troops are really just stuck behind enemy lines and probably doomed. Everyone else is continuing to move forward wherever, whenever. And yeah, that's basically their mission statement, is just keep going in the general direction of the enemy. Lots of battles being initiated, or won, or lost. The situation is definitely getting confused if it hadn't been already, and I would argue that it definitely had been already. Apparently we've lost the battle for that city, which is actually very significant and not good in the slightest. We have another armored unit ready to go. We'll just park them right there. Still supply throughput issues, really going to continually be the bane of our existence. These forces are doing mediocre, if not alright. A lot of Soviet forces are now here, so we might have to just start falling back and accept that this area is not really sustainable. That's not really a bad thing, though. These troops will fall back here. These troops will go forward, 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 around and forward. Can you win that? You probably can. Alright, so they won that. This force is doing really poorly there. Looks as though we were attacked. We'll bring that group back, although I guess it doesn't matter as they gave up. Alright, and if we can press to these rivers, then we should be in a safe spot. Although, let's see what we're producing right now. Just a bunch of nonsense. We should probably produce some more armored with mechanized and then self-propelled artillery. We'll just build an additional, I guess, 8 of those. And rush them to the front. Or rush them to the top of the queue. Not that we really need any more armored units, but if we take any casualties, which we might do, then it would probably help. These forces will retreat to the right side of the river. That unit's just going to have to deal with life as it comes. I believe we've already won that battle, so that's okay. That explains why they're fighting us right there, is they don't want to be encircled and destroyed. Over here, though, this front is doing very well, now that the Soviets have basically abandoned it. Isn't that, well, I guess kind of to be expected. And we're winning battles against disorganized Soviet forces, which is always pretty nice. Can we just win right here? No, but hopefully we will get them to stop fighting. And it looks as though we did pull that off. Alright. Let's see, we'll pull this group back since they don't really help. And where's this battle? Right here for this town, which might just fall to the Soviets in a moment. They are definitely bringing considerable forces to bear, which is problematic to say the least, and that group is really just trapped and doomed. These troops are all out of supplies, which does not help them whatsoever. That was kind of a dumb battle, and not really one that we'd even intended to fight. Can we win this? We can, great. So many things. Alright. It doesn't even help us, really, to know all these things. At this point, they're not even giving us information. Okay, so this part of the front is collapsing just out loud. The communists are slightly better off than they were before, just in a victory point perspective. These troops will just kind of attack around them with. Hopefully we did win this battle now that we have troops there again. It looks as though we did. No supplies in a lot of areas. But we are doing okay when we're actually fighting battles. In fact, we're doing very well when we actually fight the battles. Please support your fellows. Alright, there we go. And it is now August. August has seen... Let's see, let's look at the lines. Alright, so we're losing this area. We are managing to clear out the enemies there. And as long as we're able to encircle and destroy at least a decent portion of the Soviet forces in this pocket, it will have been a major victory. We've also pocketed a few of their forces over here. We have a large group of Soviets in this area. What were our objectives for Case Blue? Just generally attack there. Didn't really succeed there because everything fell apart. That all fell apart. This is doing okay. That's doing very well. As the recent lines show, the Soviets are actually being pushed back by the Germans in some areas. In fact, somewhat considerably. So that's all good. Finland's getting messed up right there, and this huge area is also getting lost. I'm sure we'll be able to pull it all together, though, as time goes forward. Let's see if we can attack that and win. Small arms have advanced, which is great. Alright, can we just win this battle with this force? It looks as though we might be able to. Everyone there has retreated. This group will just rush around. We may as well just rush them through the coast. Alright, and these troops will just have go south. These troops will all meet back up in that city. Everyone here is terribly undersupplied. We could go take Stalino, but we'll just go around it. And as all of these Soviet invasion stories go, our troops are just disastrously undersupplied. We're falling back here. We're going to just get all of these forces out that we possibly can. Those poor guys. Let's get first air transport onto the job. And we're still winning in a lot of places. Let's see. We also cannot research small arms anymore. And production really is still focusing on upgrades, which is good. Good. Okay. We'll turn off all these battle line indicators as they don't really help very much. Alright, you guys. Do whatever you can to air supply that group. We'll try to get them out. We probably could have been doing that earlier. Maybe it would have been more effective if we had been. Alright, at any rate, things are going okay in some of these places. Where is Koretz? Right here, it looks like. We'll just fall back from that. The Germans are making progress with our assistance. Will they just evacuate? They are. Cool. That's good. Alright, and hopefully we'll be able to connect these forces directly, which would be a humongous boon to our troops' ability to actually fight and win battles, as they'll hopefully be a little bit more supplied. And that battle's going well. That's going alright. We'll just keep destroying whatever forces we can of theirs. That's going okay as well. Please get these guys at least a little bit of supplies, air transport, please. We just need to get them supplied enough that they can escape. Alright, we'll send this group of armored cavalry or whatever it is over around. Just mechanized, it's just a mechanized unit. Don't need to be calling it anything weird. This armored unit's just going to charge into the city because that's a good use of armor. And everyone else is going to just complete the encirclement and roll into the city, which is still mainly armored units. Looks as though we won that battle. We can hopefully roll up and around. It looks like we lost another battle for, I guess, this place or somewhere around it. I'm not even sure where this is, just deep in Ukraine. This group will also just attack that city. Looks as though we won a battle here. We'll just keep racing around, send more reinforcements over. A lot of battles are being won right now, which is good. Ignore my exasperated kind of sound right there. It's just a lot. Apparently we lost that battle, so we'll just rush these forces over and around. America is making great gains against us basically everywhere. This area is just such a mess. And it'll probably stay a terrible mess forever. Can we just attack these guys? Will that do anything? Yes, it will. Where's first air transport? They're back here now. Can they make it? No, they cannot. Where's the next place with an airfield? Too far away. Alright, that's unfortunate. Well, we'll just fly a first air transport back to the mainland. Or I guess just back to Crimea. Crimea will probably do just as fine. And we'll rush these troops over, these troops up. This infantry group's not really doing anything, so they'll just also go over. We're winning some battles. Moving forward some troops. Charging forward to trap some Soviets. All good things, all great things. Can we win this? Yeah, probably. Alright, good enough. These troops will go up. These troops will go over. Doing okay, not great. Hey, we might actually be able to save these guys. That's something. Not really anything I had expected, but still something. Alright, air transport. Let's please get some supplies. Afghanistan's in the Axis now. That's moderately inconvenient. Alright, why not? Can we air supply anyone over here? We cannot. We'll have to fly back to Crimea and rebase there. Oh, these poor troops. Can you escape here anywhere? No, they're probably going to die now. First air transport, just please start aerially transporting supplies over there. These forces can move forward. Aerially, it's probably a word. Alright, we won that battle. Pretty straightforward. This battle also was won. These troops will go just every which way. Everyone's already pretty involved right there. These troops are going to charge over and unite the fronts. These troops are all encircled now, so let's just destroy them. And it's going well. Okay, good, good, very good, great. Fantastic. Exemplary. Battles taking place pretty much everywhere. We'll attack these troops. Doesn't even help very much. Yeah, it's a battle going very poorly, so we'll just fall back. We'll bring these troops all forward, this troop forward as well. They're not doing too well, but they're going to have to retreat, so they do anyway, despite the battle going in their favor. Everything there is a terrible mess. Everything up here is a slightly less terrible mess. These troops are going to just keep going forward, going around, or going forward, or also going forward, and going forward still. It's going to be a lot of forward momentum in this one. That looks like it's going okay. I'm not sure what's going on here. Can we attack it? Yes, but poorly. So we'll stop. What about here? Not any better, really. What's this battle? This battle is the death of those troops. What's over here? The loss of this part of the front. We'll just pull back. We could probably just roll some troops over around, as these really aren't doing anything, but I guess they don't really need to be doing anything. The Soviets are getting pushed back pretty hard now, since they've focused so many of their forces on defending just their middle of their country. Which, I mean, I guess does make some level of sense, but not all that much, really. Just considering how valuable the Ukrainian front probably was to them. It looks as though we're just losing lands up there. It's not really a problem. Lands are cheap in this fight. What's expensive is men. Although we have lost quite a few of those. More supply issues. Good thing we're building more troops. Some lost battles, some won battles, some territories being taken over. Cleaning up the remains of the Black Sea. Not sure what's going on here. Some really terrible battles. Still those guys just dying. These troops are going to have to fall back. Where are they? Just north of the city. Okay, not great, not terrible. We'll bring these troops over and around. We'll just destroy that core. These troops will continue to move forward and up, and hopefully that doesn't count as a defeat. It didn't. Cool, that's good. These troops will go up, these troops will go around, and these troops will all funnel forward. These troops over. Great victories all around. Can we win this? Yes, good, okay. Awesome. We lost that battle, those men are dead now. Or captured, which is probably the same rough thing in this war. If it's like any other war with the Soviet Union and someone kind of in the Axis, then things aren't going to go very well. These troops are going to fall back. It looks like the battle's being won right there, which is pretty good. Hopefully we'll be able to destroy that group. This group can move forward quickly. This group will just go up. These forces are going to start retreating just because we don't want them to get encircled like their comrades had done previously. Alright, what about right here? We can win that pretty easily. This troop will move down. That group's going to move there. That group will move there. This group will rush forward. This group will rush around. That battle's going okay. So we'll just stay there. The secondary battle's going fine. That's going alright. We're hopefully going to chase down and destroy the Soviet unit there. These corps are all going to start moving south, and we're kind of just going to abandon that massive thrust up. Everywhere else, Soviet forces are really in decline. That battle's obviously way less than ideal for us, but we're just gunning it around these Soviet forces, which will hopefully cut off a decent number of them. Alright, what's this terrible battle? It's that one. Everywhere else is going great. This troop is unsupplied, which is bad. These forces are rushing in pretty bravely, but maybe disastrously if things go poorly, but that's kind of just the way things go. This is a mess. This is all going okay. We are getting pushed back on some areas. Hopefully that means the Germans will be able to press forward. Nah, kind of. But that's better than not at all. Everyone here's to keep going forward. We'll try to encircle these Soviet forces. United States is really almost done with India. We could probably get all these forces ready to evacuate. I'm not sure how many we have left. 5 of the roughly 9 groups. Alright, India Command, you did your job as well as you could have been expected to. Get everyone who's left to some ports in the top-ish part of the country. We're going to just evacuate everyone who's left. You've done a good job delaying the Americans, at least somewhat. Thank you very much for your service. Try not to die. Getting out. This battle's going very poorly. We'll just retreat from there. Everyone else is doing fine. Not right there, though, either, which is a bit of a problem. These forces will rush over to try to aid them. It looks like it's going alright. Not great, but alright. These troops will be able to hopefully encircle these Soviet forces and win. These units are going to have to stay put. Light artillery, and oh, we're at 138 officers, so let's rush back to science as much as we can. So we'll get 20 focus onto science, which is decent as we're only researching 26 things. And we'll turn those 2 off as they don't really make sense to research anymore because we just can't really. Production-wise, we need to do a lot of upgrades, which will hopefully get fulfilled fairly quickly. This group will go over and hopefully reinforce. Alright, so many things are going on. It is just exhausting. This is just terribly exhausting. If I didn't have an essay that I was really attempting to procrastinate from writing, I probably wouldn't be able to get these out on time. At any rate, though, good thing I do have an essay due really soon that I haven't begun working on. So, hooray. Hooray for that. That's good news. Let's see, air intercepts. You're not really doing anything. These guys, go ground attack that city, just destroy whatever you can there. Tactical bombers. I'm not sure if I just gave you that order, but you got the order now too, in case it was the other group. Alright, these troops are going to just rush up. It looks like there's some interesting stuff going on in that city. We'll try to take it over. That battle apparently is just awful, so let's not fight. Alright, all these units are kind of out of position. We're at least convincing the Soviets that they have to retreat, which is pretty nice. We'll just try to encircle this group, and it's pretty disorganized, otherwise we would lose that battle out loud. This group will continue up. This group will also continue up. This group will try to just go around them. And yeah, overall some decent progress. Will they win? Not enough. Not really enough. Alright, so overall we are managing to do decent work against these Soviet forces, which is great because they're such an annoyance. And we'll hopefully be able to just take over this portion of the coast of the Black Sea, and then maybe even the entire Black Sea coast in its entirety, which would be pretty great. These forces can go back up, and alright, so while it was a large mess that took over quite a lot of space, time, and resources, I would say this is overall a pretty successful operation. It didn't really fulfill the objectives that it had at the beginning, but the objectives changed as the situation changed, and no battle plan survives contact with the enemy. Maybe by the end of this, I'll actually be correct about one of my battle plans, and it will actually unfold how I predict. These troops, attack! How will they do? Mediocre. This troop's doing fine. These troops are doing great. Alright, we'll do some damage, keep gunning forward. We might be able to just complete Operation Tsarbreaker, in fact. By the looks of it, by the looks of weird fate and maybe cruel irony, it looks as though we have inadvertently set ourselves up. Let's turn this one off. We are kind of doing Operation Black Ice, which is pretty cool. I mean, we kind of thrusted a lot further over this way and a lot further over this way than we had intended for Operation Black Ice. But that's fine. I mean, overachieving is still a form of achieving. What's the Soviet surrender progress at? Far. Alright, overall though, that's pretty cool. We could very realistically do something akin to Operation Black Ice. And it's only been a year or so that we've been in the war. The war lines show that everything is a weird mess. We lost right there, kinda lost here, thrusted forward a bit weirdly here, definitely did well in the Ukraine. We are closing out this pocket. We did destroy most of the Soviet forces. Alright, at any rate though, as always, we're just going to have to keep moving forward. A lot of battles are being won. That battle's really not going to be won, so we're just going to stop fighting it. Lots of supply issues always plaguing our army. This unit appears to be attempting to retreat. Not terribly surprising, to be honest. We'll send this group back, this group up, this group up as well. And really, anywhere where we can make progress, we will make progress. How's this battle going? Very well. The Germans are kind of leading it, but that's okay. The Germans kind of need it at this point. Let's be honest. They're in a bad way. At least compared to where they were. These forces will charge over and hopefully surround some of these enemy forces. Forces, forces, forces. Everything about forces. Everyone else is going to gun it wherever they possibly can. These groups will go up. Looks like we won that battle. Hopefully we'll just destroy their force. Alright. Yeah, lots of stuff going on. How's the Indian Corps going? Hopefully they'll manage to all meet it up at the rally point where they'll be evacuated and probably used to suppress Soviet rebellions once we take over the Soviet Union, or at least puppet what's left of the Soviet state. Inefficient research, we'll turn that one off. Got a decent officer core ratio and whatnot. September 8th we'll be able to add another war goal. We got a lot of Soviet forces pocketed or encircled or whatever. That battle's going okay, not great. We could just keep charging even further away, so we will. That battle's definitely not going well, so we'll not fight it. Alright. Yeah, this battle was lost for that city, which is a bit of a problem, which means the Soviets might attempt to break out, so we'll probably not be able to charge forward with all these troops. This area has a very low-level radar facility, but now it's our low-level radar facility. We're winning that battle. All these troops are terribly disorganized. We can probably just cut off these Soviet forces if we ever get supplies to our troops again, if that's just ever something we can do. We'll charge here, make some sort of vague counterattack. Looks like that group was destroyed. And these troops can all rush forward. That battle's going really poorly, so let's just pull out of that. And that battle's going much less poorly, so we'll stay there. These troops can just charge up. Looks like we only have to worry about random infantry groups and other things. We've won the Battle of Koretz, so they're retreating. Our infantry is just trying to keep up desperately. We might even want to just send our infantry out of this area, as they're not doing anything and they're just really hurting our supply. At any rate, though, we are managing to finally get supplies to our troops. Yes, go us. That battle's a disaster. We'll run these troops over and around. Looks like these guys are all still doing their thing. We'll rush around. And we're probably going to give up on all of this northern bit. But if we can just charge up through these Soviet major cities, then it doesn't matter. However, we are really at our time. So, let's take a moment to consider where the lines had been and where they are now. Germans making slight gains, actually considerable gains in some areas. We've made a lot of progress here, lost a lot of land here, but made up for it everywhere else. We've collapsed this group of enemy forces. This is probably the most confusing map to use. Let's look at Case Blue and see what we've done. Alright, so Case Blue, we didn't even plan for anything over here just because it was a mess. That was smart, as it is still stayed a mess, nothing's really occurred. This little advance didn't really work out. This major advance really did work out. This major advance definitely worked out. Persians are falling. All of these suppression units are going to spend the next probably few months attempting to get to Karachi, where we'll eventually send some transports over to rescue them. And yeah, let's take a look at the recent lines again. That's a bit of a problem, although the Persians are doing okay. Hopefully they don't surrender to the Soviets. That's really the biggest risk we've got. Afghanistan, are they in the war? They are at war with the Soviet Union. Okay, cool. Americans making progress in India. Japanese making slight gains against the Soviets. America isn't really making any more attempted progress against the Japanese. They did actually get pushed back slightly right here in China. They don't have any more or less of their islands, so that all stayed static. Canada occupied that province from us. It looks as though the Americans have not made any more progress in Norway. I can't really be sure what's going on in the German camp right now, as they are making some slight progress, although we have taken a lot of the Soviet forces and just destroyed them. Let's see, what's all this? I haven't even looked at this ever. Total victory points. Weirdly enough, we have slightly less victory points than Germany. Apparently there's also off-map victory points, but I guess that doesn't really matter. Oh, interesting, so... no, I guess it's just Germany alone. Right, what is something we can look at that will give us a little bit of information? Alright, let's see. Soviet Union. Let's see. What does this even mean? I don't even know how to look at any of this. These charts just do not seem to work. Okay, so our losses in the air, we have lost... estimated damage done in our provinces by enemy bombers is 3,000. This just doesn't seem right. What about on land? Our losses, 32,000 industrial capacity. Their losses, 202 industrial capacity. Or 202,000 industrial capacity. Manpower, 15,000 to their 142,000. Okay, so none of these statistics are right in any way, shape, or form. Oh, hey, last year. Okay, so that seems somewhat better, but also still ridiculous. So last year, we've done a lot of damage to their IC on land, and a lot of damage to their manpower. Roughly over 10 times as much damage to them as they've done to us. In the air, our bombers have done more damage to their provinces. Their losses... Okay, so they've been bombing us harder. Navally, we haven't really done anything, and they haven't done anything. Our bombers are being hurt less than their bombers, but their bombers are doing tons more damage to us than we are to them. Alright, well that's some interesting statistics. Not really sure if it is actually accurate in any way, shape, or form, but we can tell by the way that the front has progressed, and by the fact that this whole Soviet army is trapped in Dnipropetrovsk, they're trapped in Ukraine, and they're pretty much stuck there. So whatever Soviet forces are there are probably going to be encircled and destroyed. These troops will almost certainly get out. These troops probably will get out. These troops will maybe do some damage to us. Over here, there's a really large Soviet army, which will almost certainly start pushing us back. But as long as we're able to clean up these units, and maybe do some damage over here, it won't really matter in a long-term strategic sense, as we will still have the initiative, and we'll just keep trying to encircle their armies until we can hopefully eventually do enough damage to knock them out of the war. And once that's all done, then that will all be pretty nice, and we'll have knocked the Soviet Union out. That's really all I can say. Sorry for repeating that several times, but it's definitely an intensive war. So, thanks again for watching. Have a great day. Thanks again for watching.